Who's up for a New York Hardcore Chronicles live episode, huh? How's everybody doing? I hope everything is good in your world. What's up, Gary? How are you, buddy? What's up, Ray? Connecticut represent. Paulie Pork Chops, what's up? Checking in from Long Island via Florida. Yes, a lot of more. Yeah, listen. Don't get it messed up. There's going to be a lot of Lemoore and Marauder. It's a big. Hey, Lex, what's happening? It's a big Brooklyn episode today. You know, hey, Chris, what do you say? LaRouche, what's happening? Greetings from Mount Monadnock, New Hampshire. Coming down the mountain. It's the human brisket. What's up? Welcome back, human brisket. You know? Here you go. RS, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I hope things are good out on the West Coast. Is that right? You saw Marauder 5 times. Yeah. Yeah, opening for Biohazard 5 times. Hey, come on now. West Coast, Chris Contos. What do you say? Yo, Chris Contos, is that right? I saw some picture of you guys in are you in a cowboy band now? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I know. Lots of Lemoore stories today, Paul, for sure. What's that, Larry Kelly? Mount Monadnock? I don't know how you pronounce that. Yeah, that's right. Rest in peace, Richard Belzer. I heard that. The Bells. Rock the Bells. Outlaw country. Is that what it is? Like Waylon Jennings and, you know, and who's the great outlaw? Who am I thinking of? The all-time, the real crazy one. Not Waylon Jennings. God. Hey, you know what? It's funny, Mio. Your name just came up. I was just talking to our guest and said that, you know, we talk about early Biohazard stuff. I said Anthony Mio is like one of my great patrons. You know. Your nephew's 24, and you're in his band. What's his name that does? God, he's the guy he's all tattooed. David Allen Coe. Thank you. There it is. Thank you. David Allen Coe. Right. That dude's off the hook. Yeah. Yep. Shout out to everyone that's had their car broken into and or stolen at Lemoore. Yep. Merle Haggard. Yeah, okay. I'd probably enjoy that. Yeah. Let me know when you're playing. I'll fly out. Speaking of flying out, what's up with this guy?
What's up?
Or flying in?
They never broke into my car at Lemoore, but they did break into it next to CBGB's. And they stole my hockey gloves and my bowling ball.
Is that? I think I bought your hockey gloves on St. Mark's for like $5.
You remember there used to be a parking lot, like right on the corner where CB's was?
Yeah.
They broke in, they took my hockey gloves and my bowling ball.
Listen, bowling ball, bro. It's a valuable. Yo, I told the story on the show the time I was in Free Being Records, and some guy comes in with a guitar case and is like, anybody play guitar? I'm like, what do you got? He opens it up. It's like a Gibson Les Paul, like 1959 Gibson Les Paul. And I'm like, what do you want for it? He's like, give me $20.
Sold.
Hey, this is interesting. Flotsam and Jetsam has a song called IAMH, I Ain't Merle Haggard, which, you know what? It's only appropriate that after a message like that, we do photo of the day. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, photo of the day. Bam.
You couldn't have planned that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Photo of the day. Yeah, they probably used the bowling ball to break into another car.
Probably right. And they used the hockey gloves to steal the stuff and not leave prints.
That's right. Believe me, back then, nobody cared about leaving prints.
That's true.
You know? Is it Merle Haggard? Is it George Jones?
We're deep in the country today.
We're deep. We're going deep. Is it The Cure? I don't think the dude in The Cure ever had a beard, man. You know? Is it Venom?
Nice. We got some Venom coming soon, though.
For those that are wondering about the Venom reference, a little bit of a segue. On Sunday, March 26th, Abaddon from Venom will be on the show. How about that? Abaddon, Tony Abaddon Bray. Hail Satan. You know what? We should get Satan on the show for that, right?
He hasn't been on in a while.
He hasn't been on. Let's take another shot. Another shot. You see. Here we go. Here's the singer. You know, I didn't recognize him, but he's definitely good. I thought, like, is this one of these Viking bands? Is it Van Halen? Is it Led Zepp? Is it Mayhem? Is it Hey Drew?
Hey, Drew.
Hey Drew. Don't be a schmoo. You know? Is it Willie Nelson? Is it Amon Amarth? Is that the band I saw with the fucking
with
history,
the big Viking horns? Yes.
No, the band that sings about like World War I and all, like American history.
That's Sabaton.
Sabaton, yo. Fuck. All right. Right answers only, please. Here's, I guess this is the guitar player with sort of a lost look on his face. Sort of like, where am I? What's going on? Is it Celine Dion?
He has that. Did I leave the water running?
It's like, you know, I think I left did I leave the oven on when I left the fucking house? Yeah. Is it Flotsam and Jetsam? Is it Flots? Is it Flotsam?
Ray Hogan, what's up?
Now, this dude threw me off. I guess this must be like one of the newer dudes in the band, right? This can't be an original member, right?
I think he is just with a haircut. I mean, we all know who the original, obviously the original bass player in this band was, but
the original bass player in this band was Jason Newsted.
That is correct. He was also basically it was his band. I mean,
right.
But yes, so
it was his band until Alago hooked him up with Metallica.
Not a bad gig.
Yeah.
That is Flotsam and Jetsam. 2018, as a matter of fact. They were headlining the Keep It True Festival in Germany. And co-headlining, I should say. And amazing. I mean, they are still as heavy and as really, as great as ever. They make great records and super tight. They were. That was a great show. That was the first time I'd seen them since Sundance, and I had seen them at Sundance right after Newsted left. And oh man, they were just, and then whoever produced the record, it was really, really good sounding record at the time. But yeah, no, they were one of those bands that they're still going and they just never stopped. I mean,
yeah, I think wasn't Jason Bittner in that band for a while?
You know what? I believe he was. He's
an Overkill now, but
I think you're right. They've gone through a few guys here and there, but
here's a I mean, not to veer back to the Newsted thing, but here's a shot when I was shooting the Alago film. Here's me, Jason Newsted, and Alago. Yeah. So
you know what?
What?
I actually just saw footage of Newsted singing a Metallica song with Megadeth.
Is that right?
He was singing Phantom Lord with Megadeth. He's a great bass player, but he should.
But you might need to slow your roll on the vocals.
Right. That's he's good at his backing vocals and stuff. But
here we go. Paulie's a big Flotsam fan. Jason Bittner was on the self-titled album in 2016. Flotsam's 15th album is in the works as we speak.
Damn.
Yeah, and Jason's got some new music coming out. Yeah.
No, they just one of those bands that just kept going and like really, really you know, I wouldn't call them even thrash. They weren't a thrash band, but they were heavy. They're, I mean, they're still heavy.
Right on. A week from Sunday, right?
Yep.
Speaking of heavy, at
In
the
fact,
Barry Electric, free all ages with Iconicide, Non-Residents, Fuck It, I Quit, Enziguri, and Two Man Advantage, who really put on quite a show.
oh yeah. In fact, actually, looking at that flyer, Non-Residents, I believe today is Roberto's birthday.
Oh, that's their show tonight. Their birthday
Yeah,
show.
it's his birthday show.
Ah, right.
And with Non-Residents and Cartel, and I believe it's also they're having like a video premiere. They made a new video. So,
I think I might. Yeah. I might. We'll see.
Brooklyn, but
that
Cartel,
said,
who's also on the Stronger Together record.
That's right.
So,
anybody you want to shout out on this Sunday, young man?
You know what? Let's shout out Ray Hogan. Ray Hogan, who showed me the best video. He was filming one of the bands, and he caught our friend Tony just totally rocking out, and it was like the most fun video. I can't even. I got to tell you,
was Tony doing the hardcore point?
Tony was playing every instrument, and it was great. It was great. Tony, right. who's now the guy that I look for in all the candid photos.
Because Ray Hogan's been editing the new book, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Volume 2, 1990 to 1999 is getting done. It's going to the designer pretty soon. All the material. I interviewed Toby Morse today. Last interview.
Oh, nice.
I got to transcribe it. Ray's got to edit it, and then it goes to the designer, and the book's happening.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, man.
And you know what? I want to shout out Mary Elizabeth, who's in the Kings Never Die camp.
Right on.
Who was a friend of ours and a friend of the band's and everything, and just saying hello.
Okay.
Oh, and before I forget, too, this is the book I was talking about.
Ah.
For photographers.
Yeah, that dude was there.
He was,
that's the guy. He took like every fucking picture back in the 60s.
Standing on the stage at Woodstock.
Yeah.
Ground zero for people like myself.
Ground zero, Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
You got it.
There you have it. This is the one, the only New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro 126 Hardcore Clothing, Upstate Records, and, believe it or not, believe it or not, 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. Come on now, DTFM Vinyl Distro. Looking for extreme music? DTFM Vinyl has got you, my friend. Located on 13th Ave in lovely Fargo, North Dakota, we have the state's best selection of punk, hardcore, metal, ska, oi, and more. Can't make it in? Shop online from anywhere in the great US of A at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com. DTFM Vinyl, where the policy still is and always will be death to false metal. That said, let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guest on. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Everything okay? Everybody all right in the chat room? No, it's not a new guitar. It's an old guitar that just got a bunch of stickers on it. I have a bunch of acoustics. I put a bunch of stickers on it. Why not? All right. Let's get down to business on this Sunday. Here we go. Today's guest is an American former drummer and songwriter hailing from Brooklyn, New York. He was the founding member and principal songwriter for the band pioneering metalcore band Marauder. Please welcome coming at us from Queens, New York, Mr. Vinnie Vitale. Hey, man.
What's up, Drew?
How are you, buddy?
Good to see you. Doing
Good
well.
to see you. Good to see you, my old friend. And I'm looking forward to having a little walk down memory lane, having a couple of laughs.
Yep.
How's
What's up,
things?
Gina?
How's things in your world?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Peaceful life, family life, train life. It's all good.
This is an interesting story because you're the first person that's been on the show that really you walked away from it all. You sort of closed the door on it and walked away. You don't have anything going on as a musician, right now. Usually people come on and they talk about, what are they doing musically now. So this is very interesting. Yo, Bob Riley, what's up?
There's the man. Hey, Bob, I said Drew's got to get you on with me if you could, but he said sometimes you got internet issues.
Yeah, I said, yep. And John, the gang's all here, man. Hey, Joe Ramin, that's right. Shout out from Fredericksburg, Texas. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for supporting the show. But yeah, so this is a little different, and this is going to be great. Something a little bit different. So let's just jump right into it, and we'll find our way as we go. How did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Mostly listening to it. My father played guitar, but didn't really play much in the house, which is kind of odd. Like he always had the guitar there. He'd play on his own, but really wasn't like, hey, where sometimes family gets together and somebody plays music around them. But it wasn't really like that. Always grew up listening to music and all different kinds of music. It wasn't just metal. It wasn't just rock. It was even like old disco growing up, everything across the board. And here's the funny story, really, is that, I used to go to shows probably started around 16. But I think a little bit before that, one day, funny enough, my parents take me to go see Cats. And we parked the car right across Cats, the play.
At the Winter Garden Theater. At the Winter Garden Theater.
And we parked across the street from Sam Ash and Manny's, and I saw drums in the window.
On 48th Street, yeah.
Yeah, the original 48th Street. 47th or 48th? 48th.
48th.
Got out of the parking lot, saw the drums up in the window, and I said, oh my God, I got to play drums. I don't know what it was, but something just hit me, and that was it.
Yeah.
So started playing.
I know this isn't, well, hold on. I know this is, it's on topic, but off topic. I know there's no drums, but this is just such a great shot. This is from 48th Street, of course, the legendary, long gone We Buy Guitars. Remember this?
Yeah.
You just like gaze into the window and bug out,
Yep. That was a great block.
Yeah, it was great. So you saw drums in the window and?
Something hit me, got to play them. Wasn't long after I got a drum set, started playing, couldn't play for my life. Used to go to shows, friends with a lot of guys, in the scene. And then one day just started to figure out, maybe I'll put a band together, started working with.
Who were your, like, what music was, who were your early drum influences and what music was speaking to you back then?
I think it was pretty much everything. I mean, Nico McBrain was a big one. Sure. I wouldn't say we had similar styles, but Nico McBrain was one. Right. Wow, across the board, it's hard to say because it wasn't just so much from the metal scene. I think it was just across the board, anything from jazz to rock to metal. But right. I think when you're young and you see the drums and someone like Nico McBrain, who was a talented drummer outside of Iron Maiden as well, but you saw that gigantic kit and it sort of like attracted you. So I would say he was definitely one of them, but one of many, Yeah,
that makes sense. And what were the first like heavy shows that now we're talking? Did you grew up in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
So what were like the first like real heavy music that local music that you were exposed to, and did L'Amour play into this?
Oh yeah, because I was maybe 20-30 minutes from Lemoore, so I used to go almost every weekend there. I wasn't a big CDs guy, played there, but um, didn't really go to shows there until later on. I was a big punk rock guy. Used to listen to like old NYU radio, SOU. But I went to a lot of shows at Lemoore, and like one of the first ones was actually King Diamond, Megadeth, and I think the Cro-Mags.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And that was seeing the Cro-Mags for the first time was mind blowing.
Yeah.
They were great. But it's funny because if you look at the difference between something like the Cro-Mags and King Diamond, it's like one is all the way here and the other one's all the way here. But I was always into everything across the board.
Gotcha. So you start playing, and you at some point figure, I should be in a band. Did you see other kids your age in band? Like, what inspired you? Like, let's get a band together.
Well, we used to have those old papers, like what was it called, the Atlantic or something like that, where like a lot of musicians used to connect.
Or, like what they used to have, the
things like that.
Like, was it not the Aquarian, the Aquarian, or Village
something
Voice?
Like that? Yeah. So we'd set up. I'd talk to some people. We'd go to the studio. We'd go out to Jamaica, go out wherever, and stop. Just jamming with some guys, and it just never really seemed to be what I was looking for. And then, knew some of the guys in the scene.
East Coast rocker. That's what it was. That was
one of them too. Yeah.
One of them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you used to do that thing, but then I was friends with Jorge, knew Saab, knew a whole bunch of people in the scene, and one day we just all started chatting, and we're like, oh, I know Saab was also looking to start something, and we just talked about a drummer, and I said, well, I play drums sort of, and we said, all right, let's just jam one day. And, we all went to the studio, myself, Saab, Karate Chris, Eamon, and we had some old singer, Tony Dust. And, at that time we could even barely play our instruments, we sucked beyond the nth degree, but there was just something about us together that was different than everything else in the scene. And everything else that I felt from other music. And that was just sort of the start.
So when you first got together, now I got a lot of great pictures here. There's gonna be a lot of pictures this show, but this was, I'm just looking at the kind of original lineup, and before Rick Lopez entered the picture, right? Eamon,
yep. Eamon Carney.
Right. Yep.
He put up with a lot of our crap too. Yes, he is. He put up with a lot of our crap too. I think anyone associated with Marauder put up with a ton of crap.
Yeah, you guys were you guys were high maintenance.
Beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's another shot of him as well, and these are some great shots that you sent me. This is sort of the original this is the original lineup, right?
That's in the back of Saab's room when we used to practice. Yep.
Right. And I know there's another one. Hold on. Where's the karate?
I got you some from Karate Chris, from Minus.
Yeah, I'm looking for here's a cool. Yeah, this is obviously in the back of Saab's room, in Saab's room, right?
Yeah. There's Chris.
Yeah.
Those are the good old days before all the controversy and chaos.
Yeah, and I know that you guys, I'm just looking for an early picture of you. I know that you guys, hold on, let me just see if I got anything. Well, I guess, while we're on the subject, you guys used to rehearse in Saab's room, and I remember this, right? Was it Saab's room in Sunset Park, or was there a back room?
It was a room that was kind of split in the back of the house between his bedroom and then our rehearsal room. And the rehearsal room was basically at the edge of the house with a window and a door that led to the backyard. And there was no soundproofing or anything. And it was my full drum set, 2 full Marshall stacks, I don't remember what we had for bass, but it was big enough. And then to sing as well. So all that in like a little 10x10 room in the middle of a neighborhood with no soundproofing.
Hey, we got to shout out Hoya, who's heading out with Madball, Hazen Street, H2O. What a great, and the Take. Have a great time out there, brother.
We did some of our first shows with Hoya when he was in Demise. A lot with Madball.
Yeah. Hey,
great
wow.
guy.
Here's an old friend of yours, Lori Lee. What's up?
That's it. Lori.
What's up, Lori? Old friend of my sister's too. So listen, while we're here and we're talking about rehearsing in Saab's room, let's bring on a friend of ours from Women of the Pit. Let's bring on Gina, because you were around for some of this, right?
Yeah. Hi, Vinnie.
Hey.
Yeah. So the room was off his bedroom. And I remember coming home from school, I'd be doing my homework and the whole house was just shaking because they were playing, because there was, like you said, like full stacks in like that tiny little back room. It was just the entire house. Like you couldn't even in like the kitchen, you couldn't have a conversation. It was that loud.
I mean, think about it. You practice at Fastlane with full stacks, and we're doing that in a little 10x10 room.
Right. It's amazing any of us even have our hearing still.
and eventually the lineup kind of settles down, right? Rick Lopez joins on bass, and Tony Jitters, Anthony Mussini, right, joins on guitar, right?
Yeah. You like our pride pick there?
Yeah. But it's amazing. Like no neighbors ever complained.
Nobody.
No.
They probably were more upset by the rooster every morning than our band.
That rooster. I woke up to that rooster every day. Like it's like, how is there a rooster in Brooklyn? Aw.
Now this is one of the earlier shots because his hair is pretty short.
Yep,
so this has got to be. This is probably 81 or excuse me, not 90 probably.
89,
90 or
90,
91.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 89. Maybe even 88.
The Creator shirt on.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Saab.
Yeah.
And absolutely, Hoya, man. That tour looks like a lot of fun. So all the best to you guys out there, man. So that said, let me see what else I got here. Here's I think this one kind of sums up Marauder in the early days. There you go. that kind of sums it up. Minus with his pants down.
Always made us laugh. Always made us laugh. No, that was outside of the Ritz when we were playing with like Motorhead, I think. Yeah, we had our photographer with us. Well,
was that hold on, could that have been this? Was this the Ritz? I mean, I know this is a little later in the game, but when you guys played the Ritz with GBH?
Yeah, we did the Ritz with GBH. I thought we played there with Motorhead too. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, actually, probably was GBH. Because we've done some couple shows with Motorhead as well. But yeah.
Hey, Vin, do you remember playing in this tiny little, I don't even know if it's a club or what, it was like a basement in Montclair, New Jersey. It was like one of your first shows. It might have even been like the first time you guys ever played out.
A basement. I remember playing outside, and it was like before we were even really ready to play. We played somebody's house. Like they put on a big show at their house, but the basement maybe. I know one of the
they still have shows at this place. I don't remember.
You're talking about the Meat Locker?
Yeah, the Meat Locker.
They still do shows there.
You're right, and it was like a dirty
case going down.
And it was like a tiny room. It was like
barely remember.
The back room.
It's still there now. Of course, this guy, was the front man.
Infamous.
Infamous character.
Yes.
So. So Chris. Yes, it was the first show. No lyrics.
That's Roddy Chris. That's Chris. Yeah. Hey, Chris.
There he is.
Chris. There he is.
That's one guy I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good one.
There he is. Vinnie misses you, bro. So that said, well, Gina, anything else? Any other recollections of sort of just?
Oh, yeah, but not to share on the show. But it was great seeing you, Vin. I'd love to catch up.
Same here.
Nice to see you doing well, and take care of yourself.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Okay, great.
See you in a bit, Gina.
Ciao.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, listen, they're coming out of the woodwork. Here's a cool shot from that era. A little, looks like there's a big set list conference here, right?
Yeah, that was it. That was at the Ritz. Trying to figure out what we were trying to figure out the set list. We were throwing a couple ideas around right before the show.
Yeah. Now, as far as the early Marauder music, who wrote the music and lyrics?
Early on was all the lyrics were written by myself. The music was pretty much split amongst myself, Anthony, and Saab, but the majority of it mostly came out of myself and Anthony. Like, I played guitar as well. Probably most people didn't know that, so that's how I ended up writing a lot of the music. But yeah, mostly in the early stages, myself, Saab, and Anthony, and then as it started transitioning a little more to before Master Killer was eventually released, it was mostly myself and Anthony. And then going into what was going to be the second record, which I guess was released as a demo, that was pretty much myself and Anthony as well.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of people don't know this. You wrote every single lyric on the Master Killer record was your lyrics.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, and I revisited a lot of stuff, and I gotta say, man, some really great lyrics. Downfall of Christ and Dead End Path, and you were a really great lyricist, man.
Much appreciated. Put a lot of work into it,
Yeah, no, you did, man. You were the engine. You really drove Marauder. You wrote so much of the music, and you were the one sort of guy that anchored the whole thing. I mean, I came in and we're getting to the point where I came in to manage, but you were the one sort of anchor of normalcy in that hectic situation.
Well, somebody had to remain neutral, right?
Yeah. What's up, Monster? Yeah. Cool. So you wrote all the lyrics and a lot of the music, and leading up to everything on Master Killer, and then there's the whole story which we'll get to about with what ended up as Five Deadly Venoms. But
right,
here's a shot of you early on, and I'll go this way with it, and we don't need to get into ugly details here, but I'm not sure if this is JR or is that you, JR? Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, we're not talking about Animal Hall.
Well, I'm going to show the flyer because it's such an infamous. But these shows back then were pretty hectic, man. A lot of these Brooklyn shows were fucking hectic, right?
Yeah, that Animal Hall show was normal. The one after that was chaos.
Okay, got it. The infamous Animal Hall, and here's
which I've seen people post stuff online about that don't really know the whole story. So
right,
a lot of what people wrote about or said is incorrect. We could talk about that offline, but I won't talk about it here. Yeah,
we're not going to get into certain things. What year did you start to manage the band? We're getting to that. I think it was 93, 94, something like that.
Probably 94. Yeah.
So here's another play, the Crazy Country Club. And of course, Marauder's a band that was constantly misspelled on the flyers. Man,
well, look, so is Demise, right?
Yeah, right. I love it. Well, they spelled two bands wrong on this flyer: Demise and Marauder.
Well, that's because that's the real actually way it's supposed to spell Marauder. We spelled it different just in case there was another one.
Right.
And you sort of had that like Latin Italian thing, like, the ME instead of the MA. So yeah, that's actually why we actually misspelled it, believe it or not. And then I guess when people were putting flyers together, they'd say, "Oh, these guys misspelled it. Let us spell it the right way."
Right.
Sort of like
mean,
Megadeth, right? They spell it their own way.
That's right. That's right. Here's another one, the Cabaret, which
Yep.
was the Cabaret the Lemoore space?
No, that's when Lemoore
no.
closed down. The Cabaret opened up on it was right. What was that? It was like the beginning of 86th Street or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was an interesting place. We smoked that whole place out one day. Rick had a smoke machine, and we decided a smoke machine for fun, and literally the whole place was just one thick cloud of smoke when we started our show.
Any recollections? This is a pretty badass show. Morbid Angel, Crowbar, Marauder at the Limelight.
Yeah, one of my favorite shows ever. We played a couple shows with Morbid Angel, and I love playing with those crowds because they used to eat us up. I mean, a lot of people I think associated us with hardcore. Yeah. But I would say our influences and our writing was much more metal based. Sure. I think maybe because it had a little bit of that Brooklyn twist to the music, but I would say we were much more metal than we were hardcore, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think in retrospect, looking back, I mean, hindsight's 2020. You guys were really one of the pioneering metalcore bands. I mean, at the time, it was kind of, I thought it was crossover. You guys weren't a hardcore band, but you had a hardcore lifestyle. It was hard to sort of categorize it when we were living it. But in retrospect, now you guys were one of the pioneering metalcore bands. I believe that's the case.
Well, I think that's funny too, because a lot of people associated Saab with being a hardcore kid, but he went to hardcore shows. But him and I were like big into death metal.
Oh yeah,
Saab was a big death metal guy, and I think a lot of people never realized that.
Big time. Right. Saab was one of the first people that I knew. The first exposure I got to death metal was when I got involved with you guys. Saab was deep into death metal. Yeah.
Yeah, we were a lot of influence from the Florida scene. You guys
played the Limelight twice.
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be a third time before they shut down, but played the Limelight 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great place to play. It's incredible atmosphere when you see people up on the rafters.
It was great.
Great
place. Yeah.
It's a great club too.
Yeah. Just looking to see. I got so many great pictures, man. That just from my personal collection and from what you sent me. Where was this with you and Saab with the American flag?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Looks like it almost feels like Lemoore.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. People used to tease me about my UFO drum kit. I pulled that into
You know what?
CBs.
That's so funny. That's so because I'm looking. Okay, hold on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, you asked for it. You got it. Boom. There it is.
That's it. The UFO.
Man,
I can't tell you the controversy when I tried to pull that into CBs. They were like, "Where are you going to put that thing?" I said, "I don't know, but I got to put it somewhere."
The rack, bro.
Yeah.
What's the whole overhead rack thing?
I don't know what the overhead thing was. I guess it was just to fulfill the look. And I was originally thinking about putting some stuff up there, but I needed a rack to actually place the drums where I needed them. That was actually the original reason why I bought the rack.
Right.
But I also used to work at Sam Ash for a short period of time, so I paid like next to nothing for this stuff.
Yeah.
I had to do my 80s poser thing,
Walter Monster Ryan, I met Vin in New York City on the Puerto Rican Day Parade with Bob Riley and hopped into their van after I finished filling in for Machine Head. We had a great day, great guys and great band. Rest in peace, Saab. Puerto Rican Day Parade.
I don't think I was ever at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, but I don't know.
Maybe you don't remember it.
There's a lot of things I don't remember.
Yeah. Let me see what other if I have any. Well, yeah, these are great, man. Here's a good one, man. So give me, a take on this guy as a front man.
Oh, fantastic as a front man. there's the infamous CB's tape from when a fight broke out, and Minus just put a stop to that like immediately, and just goes off on the crowd and what's going to happen in our shows. There's not going to be fighting. I wish, it's funny, if I knew you were going to ask that question, I would have tried to find that clip somewhere, and I'm sure it's probably somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah.
But great front man, always a funny guy, and as wild as he was, really good-hearted. Like, if he had one pork chop to live on for that week, he'd give you half his pork chop or give it to you. That's the type of guy he was.
Yeah. Minus was the guy that, I met when I was working with Biohazard. He was out on the road with Biohazard when I did, produce the Punishment video and Punishment and Shades of Grey and the Onyx stuff. And, I went out on the road with them, and Minus was the one that really took the time to, show me the ins and outs of living on the road. I was never out on the road before that, like this is what you do. This is your bunk. He really took the time. So I always really, really appreciated that. But, Minus was the one that approached me about getting involved in some sort of, management capacity with you guys. Let's just say, I guess it was 93 or something, or 94, whatever. And, he asked me, and, I thought about it, and I agreed to do it. Part of the reason that I agreed to do it was because there was a deal from Roadrunner Records that was on the table at the time. And there was the Roadrunner deal was on the table. Now, this is the Roadrunner deal that Machine Head signed, Typo Negative, Life of Agony. This was the standard, Roadrunner deal where your merch and your publishing is cross collateralized. It's the basic you're getting screwed first record deal that a band would sign. And part of the reason I got involved is because that deal was on the table. So I get involved with you guys. I start manage you, and then the next thing I know, Minus was out of the band, and we don't have to get into particulars, or whatever you're comfortable with. What was those series of events?
I think it was just what was going on in everybody's life at the time. I think, nothing. We didn't split because we had bad issues with one another. We didn't split because we had different directions. I think it was just what was going on in people's lives at the time, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Do we love them? Of course we do. Like, soon after our record was released, we were doing shows together. Like, him and Jorge were up on stage together. So it was never a thing of, we're at odds with one another. We were never at odds with one another. Right. It's just, that there were life things going on in lives at that time that just made it difficult.
Yeah. Also, go ahead.
So there were, even if I take a step back, I think we talked about it. Like, we even had a development deal with Capitol at the time.
Oh yeah, I have it in my notes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Capitol Records development deal. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we had that on the table, met with some producer, talked about us being turned into sort of like a Limp Bizkit. I think at that time, like early stages of maybe like a Korn, maybe like a Limp Bizkit. And, they were looking at our music, liked the music, but they wanted to make some changes in the sense that, trying to get Minus to rap a little more, change our drum sound, make it, I guess, a little more hip hop-ish.
Sure.
And we walked away from that as well. It was, you go and do that, and if it doesn't pan out where you're going to really hit the big time, then you're just going to destroy your legacy or whatever you're trying to build. And we knew it. We weren't getting into this for big money, but if we were going to do it, we were going to do it the way we wanted to do it. And that was also the thing with Roadrunner. Roadrunner was signing a lot of big bands, or bands that were really coming up at that time, and we knew it was a good deal, but it was also the fear that Machine Head's their big thing, Typo's their big thing. They had like one or two other big things going on.
Sepultura.
And then where does it place? where does it place right? And where does it place us? Are we another band signed to the label, or are we going to be a band that they're really going to care for?
Around that time, they also signed Life of Agony, Madball, Dog Eat Dog. So there was a lot going on that label at the time.
Right, and I think they were just hot, firing contracts everywhere, and it's that thing of they're going to toss it to the wall and see if it sticks, and is that the end? So we wanted to make sure that we had somebody that was definitely going to support us, 100%. And though Century Media was a smaller label, they were 100% in.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, after that, next thing I know, I'm managing. Your singer's out, the Roadrunner deal's off the table, and there was sort of a lull in the action. I sort of, I thought that was kind of the end of it. You guys kind of, imploded. Like that was the end of it. And then you guys started calling me again a couple months later. You had a new singer. You were rehearsing at Fastlane. Come down and see us play. Come down and see. Come down to a rehearsal. And I went out to Fastlane, and Jorge was singing. And truth be told, he was really good. And he was really I was like, whatever. And I went out there and like, he definitely brought something to that material.
Right. Well, I was friends with Jorge before the band. And, when we were looking so we started our first rehearsal with a different singer. It was one or two. It was more like a fill-in guy. It really wasn't our singer. And we were looking for like someone that would be a good frontman and a good singer. And, we knew Minus, we knew Jorge, and Jorge was in another band at that time. So that was kind of off the table. And, we knew Minus's personality. We didn't really know that he was singing. We knew Jorge was a singer, but we knew Minus's personality. And we figured we all sucked back then anyway. So we'll grow into it. Because everybody knew Minus's character. And on stage, he was fantastic. So that's how we ended up with Minus. But, we've known Jorge forever. And that was always one of our first choices. And, when the split came, that was, the one and only person we approached.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Century Media deal gets signed, and they pony up some dough, and you guys go to Normandy Sound, and you record with Paris Mayhew producing, and you record Master Killer, which I revisited and listened to leading up to the show. And I got to say, I just think it's great still. I mean, I think it's just I think it's a great, great moment, man. It's just great. It's a great recording. And I was there, and I know how much hard work that you guys put into it, So any recollections of the record, of recording it?
Yeah. It was definitely an interesting place. It was a great studio. Working with Tom was great. Working with Paris was great. Paris brought a lot of knowledge to the table. Tom obviously was a great engineer. It was a fun time. For sure, a lot of work, of course, just like any other band in the studio, right? We had a budget. We blew out our budget. So it's kind of funny because I do recall that, we were supposed to cut like 4 or 5 guitar tracks for each song. And some of them we were only able to cut 3 because we had to, we were limited with time at that point. And, like I said, we were hitting our budget or already hit the budget. But I think we put out a pretty good product. And actually what's funny is Life is Pain and Mirror Shows Black was actually cut as one track, both songs back to back.
Is that right?
Yep. We thought about doing that.
Black.
We thought about doing that at a show, and just because of the way it was vibing in the studio, we just went in from one song right into the next one.
Yeah,
which is a rarity.
And this, I know there's, there was some, controversy and stress about this album cover. So fill us in a little bit about, what is this right here?
So right after we cut the record, I think we were going out on tour with Fear Factory, right? And the record wasn't released. The record wasn't coming out to 96. We were out with Fear Factory. And then I think as we were finishing up with Fear Factory, we were told that we had the Onkelz tour on the table, right. And that we had to come home, get emergency passports, and then fly out to Europe. And we had no time to really work on the album cover. And somebody at the label put together that goofy cover of little sword guy and
that would be this, which
yes, the horrible cover.
I don't know. A lot of people love this cover, man.
I don't know how many do, but the logo looks fine. The character wasn't what we expected, and they threw that out there, and I said, no way. Why don't you just use the picture? Because the picture looks right. Cool, and it, and actually, if you go back to like some of the old like '80s metal bands, even if you think about like Kiss, you think about Motley Crue, how the photos were always on the front, right? And it kind of sells the band, in some way. And I said, why don't we use that? And they used it for a temporary European release. But
do you remember this photo shoot? I actually do.
Yep.
Didn't that gal Anna Lee
yep.
from Germany?
That was at the top of. Yeah, she was a pretty good photographer. Like we shot that at the top of a building, right on the fire escape, and I was kind of.
I know it was like in Midtown Manhattan, right? It was like in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah, and I have a terrible fear of heights. So when we were told we're going to be shooting that on the top of the building on a fire escape, I said, "You really got to be kidding me." Yeah. But she was also a big photographer in the stripper scene, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
She was connected with all like a lot of strippers and porn stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She was great to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wish that cover would have made the album the real album.
Well, also I remember, and you mentioned it recently, that it was the cover, but also the logo they used here, right?
Well, they changed the logo on that one.
Right.
And just to be clear of one thing, Master Killer wasn't about the movie Master Killer. And it's probably some people think that. And I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, an old Shaolin movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about that. And if you read the lyrics, you'd know that. And that's why, another reason why I didn't want that goofy cover to be on our album.
Right.
And as much as I like our video, nor did I really want the Taekwondo guys in there either. But I know that wasn't you. You didn't write the treatment for it.
Well, video's a classic, but yeah, it's speaking of you know what we should do right here? Let's no, fuck it. On second thought, here is talk about the video. You ever see this picture? This is from the set of when we did the video.
Yep.
And the two guys are the Tiger Twins. They own a what do you call it? A franchise.
Dojo.
But it's like a franchise. It's like a whole bunch of them.
That's SD in the corner there, right?
SD's on the left.
With the hat, right?
Yeah, those are a bunch of my people that worked on all my videos, man. All those people up front are the people that worked with me in Paris on all the videos we did. That's you in the back with the Tiger Twins, Anthony, Rick Lopez. Yeah, absolutely. Since we're here and we're doing it, I want to bring a friend of ours on, an old bandmate of yours. And I'm talking about Mr. Rick Lopez.
There he is, Mr. Kansas.
Vinnie.
What's going on, Rick?
What's going on, Vin?
Rick?
Hey, Drew. What's going on, guys?
How are you, buddy? Are you enjoying this?
I am, man. I am. I'm. Let me tell you, a lot of flashbacks, man. A lot of good times we had, and it's a shame it didn't go the way we all wanted it to go. But really, honestly, man, it was fun. It was fun.
Any recollections of recording the record up at Normandy?
Oh man, all I know is that I was in and out. I did my bass part like that, dude, and I was just like, it sounded good. Paris was good at what he was doing. I had that nice big, like heavy bass sound, man. He made it sound good. That's definitely something worth remembering, man, forever, that type of stuff. But man, like I said, I recorded my part and I was done. I was like, all right. So, but I do remember the what Vinnie was talking about when we took that picture, Vin, on that fire escape. I remember you saying, you were like, oh my God, I'm gonna shit my pants. You know, like you were scared, man. And I get it though.
Yeah,
because
I don't like heights.
We were high up, man. We were definitely high up on that fire escape. But man, that's the ultimate picture right there of all of us, man. When it was good.
Yeah.
When we had our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, other than that, everything's good, man. Life is good. Yeah, I'm in Kansas now. I've been living here since 2013. My wife is originally from here, and you know, life is good, man. It really is. This is not a central hub to, you know, where people are gonna say, hey, let's go to Wichita, Kansas, and hang out. Cool picture, by the way, man. And
we had a good time in Wichita, Kansas, though.
Oh yeah, dude. Unbelievable.
Hey,
yeah, we did.
Listen, let's get jiggy with it, right? Doing I have a lot of footage of when we were out on the road, but one thing that's really great that I don't know, I know you guys might not have ever seen this, but let's take, if you remember, this was the Fear Factory tour, right? If you remember this, check this out. We got the video camera working.
Bro.
Oh my God.
What's up?
Yo.
What's up, stuff?
We got the video camera working.
Bro.
Yo, it's on. Here we are. The biggest media created site in the world. Stone, Marauder, SD. Wow.
Where's that
Boom,
thing?
bash, boom.
God, man.
SD, where are you?
Come here.
The Meteor Crater.
Yeah.
I remember that day. Look at me smoking a cigarette like a fool.
Poor gay.
God.
SD was our 6th band member who just didn't play.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So do you remember what this? There he is, Tony Jitters.
Tony Jitters. There you go.
There's Tony Jitters. Yeah.
MTV Sports. What's up, pal? Here we are. Boom. Boom.
Evidence.
Woo. Boom, bash, boom.
Yo, we could actually get some video footage out of this, you know.
Wow.
Do you remember? Do you remember what this was? What this place was, Vinnie?
Yeah, in Arizona, the Meteor Crater.
Yep.
I don't even know how we ended up there.
I saw it.
I
saw it, and I was like, "We got to go! It's the biggest meteor crater or something." It was right off. It was like right off 10 or whatever. And I'm the one. I remember. I was like, "We got to go. We got to do something different. We're going to the meteor crater." And we went to this meteor crater, and we were all just bugging out.
Oh yeah.
You know.
That was a wild tour.
I think I went there once after that. You know. I think I went there once after that.
Of course.
This was probably the most normal part of the whole tour.
Yeah. You got that right. Look at that. And it was so
Roll
quiet
that shit
there,
like
too.
that shit. Smoke that shit. That's what I'm saying.
You want some juice?
Nah, man. I think I have my drugs for the month.
Smoke his weed on it.
So yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't even remember you shooting this.
I think I had. What's that?
I don't even remember you shooting this.
Look at this.
Look at fat, colorful me.
Man, you were so 90s, man.
Holy Moses.
God.
So
shit.
You know what comes after that, and we'll get to that. You know what that is right there?
That's in Tennessee. That's in Nashville.
That's right.
No, that's in Memphis, isn't it?
Well,
Wait,
in Memphis,
I have the picture. Wait, I got the picture. Let me find it. That, my friends.
That was like Elvis Land or something.
That, my friends, is this. Boom.
Yeah.
There you go. The king.
Yep. Where
we went to
fucking. The walls.
Yo, we went to Graceland.
Yeah, we did, man.
I was a big Elvis fan when I was a little kid.
Bro, do you remember we went to Graceland? We were like, let's go to Graceland. And then it was like, to get in was like, it was ridiculously expensive. And we were like,
Yeah.
nah, fuck that.
Well, I
Yeah.
remember Anthony, he was complaining that he wanted to go in and he got upset. He was like, come on, Drew, come on, give us a couple of bucks to go in. And you're like, no. And then Anthony's like, man, and he got all upset about that. But I mean, it ended after that really quick though, because he got the idea though, you know what I mean? He wanted to go in really bad. And I would have checked it out too, man. But you know, we were
yeah, there you are, bro.
Yep. Wow, man. I remember all this. I totally remember all this.
Elvis was
Yo, what's up?
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Wow, I don't remember this. I remember being there, but I don't remember you filming anything.
Bro, no one has seen this footage in 25 years, bro.
Crazy. It looks 25 years old.
We were on the other side of the game, though, Paul. We were on the other side of the game.
Yep.
Everybody just scarred up the walls.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
That's the quietest part of the whole tour.
Yeah. Well, good times there, man.
It was a wild fucking tour, man.
Shit, man.
Oh, and you know what? You know what? You know what's after that? When we went and saw the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue.
Yeah, and you know the whole thing behind that, right? Where his statue is him holding the guitar like this with his hand, and he's got his arm down, but in the shadow, it looks like he's actually playing the freaking thing, man.
Right.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe that. It was so. You remember that, Vinnie, with the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue?
Yeah, I don't remember who wanted to go there or how we ended up there, but I do remember that.
It was me. I was like, we're in Austin, we're going to the Stevie, and we went there after the show. But that said, let's talk about this sort of this sort of really watershed moment for Marauder, and that's when you guys went out on tour with the Böhse Onkelz in Germany. Vinnie, what are your recollections? How did this come across our radar screen?
Wow. So if I start from the beginning, we Century Media approached us about doing this tour. We didn't know who the hell they were. We just heard that they were a huge band out in Germany, Switzerland, Austria. A lot of controversy around them. Supposedly an old skinhead band, maybe a little bit, maybe white power type of band. There was a lot of nonsense.
It was Bob Riley. Tag. Bob Riley gave us the heads up. He was like, Böhse Onkelz. He was like,
oh, was Riley?
Riley's like, yeah. He was like, yo,
That's
you better think about this, you know?
Yeah, so we just heard they're a big band. It was an opportunity to get out there, it was on the table, and they said it was going to be big shows. So we said, you know what, we'll do it. If for some reason it's really that controversial and it doesn't work for us, then we leave it, And we came back from the Fear Factory tour, had 3 days, got our passports, headed out. I think we landed in Amsterdam. And then our first show was in Germany. We showed up there that day, and we start pulling up to the arena, and we see all these.
Wait, can I interject something? Something? When they mentioned touring with this band, I remember I had the fax machine, right? And they sent via fax the venues and the capacity of the venues. And
right.
I remember looking at this and going, what the fuck? These are arenas, right?
Yeah.
It was a fucking arena tour.
Yeah, the huge music halls or arenas, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
arenas. And I remember I talked to you guys and I was like, yo, these fucking places are the size of these are huge, 5,500 a night. It was huge places, huge places. And I guess we sort of were dumbfounded. We didn't know who they were and kind of agreed to it. And I got to say, I will never forget this, Rick. The night of the first show, and I have the footage of this. We were all together. And you guys were getting ready to go on, and we were really.
Wait, hold on. Let me preface that.
You're on.
Because because this will actually lead into the whole thing.
Okay.
is that, you know, we did take the tour. We figured if we're going to be playing these size places that no one's, I think there's a lot of controversy there, but I think it's probably old. Listen, there were a lot of bands that were in the hardcore scene, you know, that had their own controversies as well. So around that stuff. But anyway, long story short, we get out there, we start pulling up to the arena, and we see trailers, and we're like, holy Christ, like what are these trailers doing here? We're thinking, all right, it's something for the arena, but not for us.
Right.
Anyway, we pull in, and there's a whole crew, 40, 50 people, Frankfurt security, catering crew. And then we walk in the venue, and it's a gigantic venue with a real arena stage. And then, you know, we're saying to each other, what's going to show up here? 1,000 people tonight?
Right.
And, you know, the day goes on, we're meeting people, getting stuff together. And we go out to the parking lot. I don't know if you remember this, Rick. And the parking lot was like pretty packed. But I thought that was okay. Maybe there's 1,000, 2,000 people outside, you know.
Oh, I
and
remember.
then I guess you can lead it up to there. Is we took a peek out before we went on stage, and the sea of heads went out forever, and we were like, oh my God, this is going to be every night. And then I guess you could lead the story from there.
Hold on. Hold your horses.
Yeah, man.
Hold your horses, because I think what we're talking. Yeah, this is pretty much it right here.
Oh my God.
Let me see. I think some of this is in. I thought some of it. Oh yeah, here you go. Here you go. This is.
That was in Dortmund.
Arenas, bro. Arenas.
Yeah, that's the largest arena in Europe, or at least was at that time.
Every day it was like that, man. What a fucking experience, man. They were like Metallica of what was it, Austria, Germany, and
there was. If I remember, Vin, it was. Wait, I'm looking at this right now. It was like 12 shows in Germany and 2 in Austria. That was the whole tour. They just fucking.
No,
I think Germany.
I think it was more than that. 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it was way more than 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Because we also did 2 nights in some places as well. Like Munich, we did
29 shows. 29 shows.
That was a lot.
But I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this. Before the first show, we were all gathered together because we didn't know anybody. We were just sort of like, and we were fucking nervous, man. We didn't know what was going to.
I was amped, man. I wanted to get up.
But I remember, Rick, you said, I'll never forget this. You said, what's the worst thing that could happen? We get the shit beat out of us. Let's do it. I'll never forget you said that. What's the worst thing that can happen? We'll get the shit kicked out of us. And everyone was like, yeah, all right. Fine.
That crowd was harder than a Slayer crowd. That was like going to a hardcore soccer crowd's party.
Yeah.
You know,
there was a couple of shows,
and you were the opposing team, huh?
There was a couple of shows that they didn't like us. I forgot where it was at, but I'll never forget.
Well, I wouldn't,
they were throwing shit.
I wouldn't
at
say
us.
it wouldn't like us. It was sort of like, but it was like opening up for Slayer, right? Nobody wanted to see anybody but Slayer. It wasn't that people didn't like the band; they just didn't want to give anybody a chance.
Yeah,
you know, and that crowd was singing the whole time too for them and some of their local football songs.
You guys went over well. You guys went over well most of the time.
We did.
People dig. You guys came out and you guys fucking delivered. You guys didn't give them a chance. You just pounded them, man.
Yeah,
you know,
we did.
Well, you know, it's funny when we played in Munich. There was it was the old airport. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes,
it was the old airport, and I think Skid Row was playing the small room next to us.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, man. Oh God.
Yeah, there you go.
And then right after,
right?
Yeah, That place was so big. We did the show there. Skid Row was playing like in another room that we snuck in, and then there was like a whole trance scene somewhere else in there.
What place was that? Hanover?
No, it was the old airport in Munich.
Yo, you know what I remember about Hanover? We drove the night before, and we parked at like 3-4 in the. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
I woke up at like
dum.
Oh yeah,
and we're like, they can't be doing construction at this hour.
What the fuck is that? We pulled in. Now I found out later the place in Hanover was an old German submarine factory. The place was almost like the biggest indoor building on the planet Earth. I mean, it was
gigantic.
It was gigantic. It was like a mile in each direction, right? So we pull in late at night to go to sleep, and we're trying to go to sleep. And it's like, doom, 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 doom. And we're like, what the fuck is this? So a couple of us get up, I think all of us, right? And we went towards the music. And it was the first time I had ever seen a rave. It was like a real early rave thing going on. Yeah. And it was wild. It was
because it was like 4:30 in the morning. And we're like, what time is this ending? And it's like it ends when it ends, and then they were out in the parking lot in the morning.
Terminal 1, man, that was it. Terminal 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Munich. Yeah.
That was Munich. But I remember
Hanover was wild.
Everybody, they were all fucking amped up, and it was like, what is this?
Yeah.
God, that was.
Well, we used to do that a lot of nights after shows, though.
Yeah.
I know Anthony loved that shit, man. He was like, he didn't want to go.
Yeah, I did too.
You did too? I was like, get me the fuck out of here,
stuff.
man. God.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was wild. We like staggered out, and we came across this whole nother world. And it was really the early, rave scene, right? It was like early on,
Pretty much. Yeah, that's the beginnings of that stuff, man.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. Rick and Vinnie, let me take a sponsor break, a couple-minute break, and we'll come back. We got to talk about a couple other things. We'll keep. I got a lot of pictures, so let's take a break, and we'll see you in a couple. All right, you guys?
You got it, man.
This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today is Vinnie Vitale, and our special guest is Rick Lopez from the band's Marauder. And we've got a lot of pictures and a lot of stuff to get into. Before we go there, let me tee up a word from our sponsors. Any questions? I saw some people going on about questions. If you have any questions, that's the second part of the show. Here's a word from our sponsors.
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey guys, Vlad from Organic Grill. As you can see, we're in a new location on West 3rd Street, right by Blue Note and Comedy Central. The place is bigger, kitchen is bigger, we have more varieties, more food. We are looking forward to treat you guys with great dishes. All Hardcore Chronicles, welcome to Organic Grill. We are going to serve all the events as we usually do, and we are happy to see you guys.
Peace, what it do? Welcome to NYHC Comics at 117 Main Street, Dobbs, Surrey, New York. I'm Debo the Pro with my homie
Lee Farley.
Welcome to the spot. Specializing in yesterday's and today's comic books, rare CGCs, toys, collectibles.
Got skateboards, old school tapes, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer.
Video games, original art pieces by your favorite New York City and worldwide artists. Let's go. Skate decks all day, baby.
We also have the young readers section here for like 10 and under. Pops. People love the pops.
Star Wars! We are New York hardcore. We always rep the scene. Let's get it on.
What's happening? We're back. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Coming up on 3 years doing this show. Can you imagine? April's going to be 3 years. Crazy. That said, let's talk about some upcoming shows. A week from today, Mr. Dave Dictor, Sunday, February 26th from MDC will be on the show. A couple days later, Skeeter from Scream will be on the show. Actually, speaking of upstate Bob Riley, Troy, New York represent, Skeeter Thompson will be on the show on March 1st. Danny Garcia, filmmaker, on March 8th. Then we head towards our landmark 250th show. The warm-up to that, of course, is the legend, Louis Beto from Carnivore and Agnostic Front. And then show 250 is Lars Fredrickson from Rancid, Old Firm Casuals, Oxy's Midnight Runners. Show 251, Hail Satan, Abaddon from Venom will be on the show. Yes, they're so good, I had to say it twice. Wednesday, March 29th, the Slicky Boys, big DC influence, and Phil Demmel from Violence and Machine Head has rescheduled, and that is Wednesday, April 5th. So lots going on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Yes, in league with Satan. It's going to be a good one. Hey, Brett the Bookie, what's up, bro? Hope you're well. Yep. Well, you know what? We might have to bring Satan on the Venom show. Also want to mention Bowery Electric free all ages matinees a week from Sunday on March 5th. 2-man advantage along with Enziguri, Fuck It, I Quit, Non-Residents, and Iconicide. Sunday, April 2nd, Channel 3 celebrating the release, as you can see back there, of Channel 340, their anniversary box set, along with Incendiary Device. It's going to jump off tonight. War Orphan with Sick of It All, Richie Sip, Slashers, and Regenocide. That show is at Berlin. Back to the Bowery Electric on Sunday 30th with Go, Crazy Eddie, Down Low, Chum Huffer, and Crippled Earn. And then the Tompkins Square Park that we are doing, the Back to the New York Hardcore Roots series with Leeway, Rebelmatic, Butterbrain, Winterwolf, and Scott Hellen's Army of One. Hey, please support the show. If you're wondering how in God's name can I support the show, there is a Patreon page. There's a PayPal address. Also, there's a super chat function. We're going to be doing questions in a bit. So if there is a super chat function, if you want to donate a couple. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, Sean Brennan? Yeah, it's going down. Hey, Junior, what's up? Good to see you, man. Nobody's perfect represent. That said, I think I want to shout out a couple of our new patrons, Stefan Sonic, Jeff Steiner, and Brendan Murray. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It's the only way the show can happen. Yes, hello. Don't be a Hatreon and join Patreon. That said, that's what's up. Please support the show. That said, let's clear the deck. Let's bring our guests back on. Let's start with Vinnie Vitale. Yeah, you know what, Vinnie? You guys did get banned from Lemoore for a while, right? How do you get banned? How do you get banned from Lemoore?
Well, infamous fights from the boys back then. And the funny thing is, like mine is Chris, the twins, Jorge, all of them were at every show. And, one of the guys, what was it? Rich, Bio's old manager, he used to sneak them in the back door.
Richie Frayne.
Yeah, Richie used to sneak them in the back door. Or they used to go in through the front. But when we had a show set up, pretty decent show lined up. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then Ken Crady comes up to me one day and he says, "Who's in your band?" And I said, "Oh boy, here we go." I said, "Why?" He says, "Who's in your band?" I said, "Mine is Saab." He said, "You guys aren't playing." I said, "Why?" He says, "You guys are banned from L'Amour's." I said, "So why are they in every show if that's the case?" I said, "Talk to your boy Rich, who lets them in every week, or all your security guys who lets them in for every show. So how could they be at every show but we can't play here?" But they literally banned us for a while, and I think until they reopened at some point.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah. Let's bring Rick Lopez back. Hey man.
I had to put my glasses on because the fucking boy can't see. Holy shit, man.
Any L'Amour memories, Rick?
You know, as far as L'Amour's goes, man, it was always just, I don't know. I was always one of those where, when I played, I didn't want to get in that pit. I was never a pit guy. You know, all I know is that every show that we played at L'Amour's was just crazy. And it was always a great time. And I was like, all right. And then people were just bouncing off the fucking walls. And, pretty much after like finishing playing the show, I was like, all right, I'm going to hang out in the back for a little bit until all this shit calms down. But I've never had a bad time at L'Amour's, man, really.
You see Junior's comment?
Yeah, I remember Saab sneaking into L'Amour with a wig on.
Oh, my God.
To see Sepultura.
That's funny. Shit, man.
I think we did Morbid Angel or Deicide at L'Amour as well. Right?
I remember the first show I seen you guys play at before I played in the band with you was at Sundance, and that was with Napalm Death.
Yeah, Napalm Death, Godflesh. Yep.
Oh my God, dude, that was a crazy
here's
show.
one of the last. Here's an early Marauder shot here with the infamous cage.
Yeah, man.
That's it. 80s poser cage.
Shit, man. Yeah.
Had to get my striper thing on,
Yeah.
Shit, you look like Tom Araya there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the twins always used to call me.
Oh, Tom Araya.
Yeah.
Here's as we're sort of here's a great shot talking about being out with Fear Factory. They had the balls to take us out on tour with them, and boy, did they fucking get it, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that wasn't what they hoped for, huh?
Oh man, we were a fucking handful, man.
Remember, I ended up living on their bus for a while.
Oh my God, I remember that too.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
God, we were crazy. There was a lot of crazy shit, man. We had a lot of good times though, man.
We did. Yeah. Paulie Porkchop says I saw Marauder open for Biohazard at the end of '94 at L'Amour. Biohazard was supposed to play the next night, but the cops ended the show early, and the club closed for a bit after that. Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
The shows were nuts. Let's talk about one show from that run. I don't remember where this fit in exactly, but here's a shot is when you guys played Dynamo, and here's a shot of me.
Oh, the Rikers guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Kid from Rikers, and this is when you guys played Dynamo. Vinnie, that was a huge. You guys killed it. What tour? That wasn't the Uncle's tour, right?
No, we did Slapshot. We did a tour with Slapshot, Stuck Mojo, and some others, and then we went out with Propane like right after that. But all sandwiched in between all of that was, the whole summer festival run.
Yeah.
We did a whole bunch of festivals, but Dynamo was the big one, and that was incredible. That was we played. There was the option to either do the main stage early on in the day, or the option was to take the Friday night like later in the day when it was really going to be a hot crowd, and that's what we ended up doing. It wasn't, it was
in the tent. You played in the tent.
In the tent, right? But that still was like 20 something thousand, I think. But it was definitely the right call because some of our friends were playing the main stage early in the day, and it was raining, and nobody's up and ready for the first few bands. So we did the Friday night and freaking killed it. And
for those that are posting that they love Stuck Mojo, here's one from my archive. Here is Bones from Stuck Mojo and Saab from back. Yeah.
They were great guys.
Yeah.
They were great guys.
And there was a connection there. I did their video.
Totally.
I did their video. I was, there was definitely a connection there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got along really well on that tour. It was a lot of fun with them.
Yeah. One thing that I remember, Rick Lopez, and if I could kind of tell this story, is I have this shot of this. Do you know what this is?
Yeah, that was that slap shot. That happened like that was an overnight thing. I don't know what happened with their bass player at the time, but I remember Choke coming up to me. He was like, "You want to play with us for a little bit? You want to play with us on the skate stage? I got all these songs and whatnot." And I wind up doing it. And man, it just
you
like
learned.
that.
I'll never forget. You sat in the bus and learned their whole set the day like leading up to the show. You learned everything, and then you get on stage and you fucking pulled it off, bro.
It was great, man. I was just, man, my mind was still good back then. You know what I mean? But to do all those songs in one shot, man, and get up there and play, it felt good. I've never seen that shot before. It's the first time I'm seeing that, man.
Yeah, same here.
Wow.
Choke was so much different than the guy that I think a lot of people thought he was. Like, he was really, at least from my experience, like really down to earth. And he was actually the guy that got me interested in soccer, really, for the most part. I mean, growing up here, I barely watched it, but we went to see the Champions League final together. It was Juventus versus Ajax in Holland. And of course, being Italian, I'm going to support an Italian club.
Yeah, right.
But that's what actually turned me on to Juventus at that time. Where's that?
I think for some reason, I think this is France. For some reason, I seem to think that this is France. You know, on one of those tours, me and Rick.
We have some cool. I had some cool shots actually from the south of France.
Yeah,
you do.
Here's. Hold on.
With Jorge and Corey training together, actually.
Do you guys remember? Oh man, do you guys remember this?
Yeah, I do. That's in Poland.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man, that crazy show where everybody just kind of like looked at us, and we had that.
The TV show.
The TV show, yeah.
Vinnie, set the table for this whole fucking thing.
We played Paris the night before, or the day or two before, and then we had to do a straight like 20-something hour drive to Poland.
20-hour drive.
Yeah, and I remember. You remember when we crossed into like East Germany and then into like, you know, the Eastern Bloc, and how all of a sudden the world turned back like 20 years overnight in a matter of minutes. And I remember we pulled into Poland and we needed to make a call, and we were trying to figure out how to make a call, and they said you needed some special coin to use on the phone. But I remember that we got there, and it was a TV studio that does concerts, live concerts, I guess. And I don't think anybody knew who we were. And I think we were playing, oh man, what was the band with the long dreads, the death metal band? We were playing with them.
Really?
And the crowd was,
huh?
No, not I thought it was just you guys.
I thought it was just us.
No. Moonspell was on it as well. It'll come to me later. But anyway, we went up there and nobody knew who we were at the time. And I think they were all waiting for their death metal acts. And it was just a really odd crowd. And it was
a weird scene. But I do remember when we got there, they were so happy to see us, they fucking lifted Saab up.
Yeah. Well, Poland was
it entombed? Was it entombed?
No. I could look it up, but I'll tell you.
You know what I remember, Matt? You know what I remember? Do you remember that fucking scene at the hotel when they said they didn't have our passports?
I remember that vaguely, but
I got into an argument with the person at the desk, and I went around the desk, and like they said, we don't have your passports, and I got fucking loud and crazy with them, and I went around, and I said, yeah, well, what the fuck are these? And it was your passport, Rick. They tried to fucking scalp our fucking passport.
Yeah, I remember. But how about Vinnie? You'll remember this. So I think it was in Germany or somewhere. We were walking on, before heading to the venue. We were going around, looking around, sightseeing a little bit, and then all these cops started running up to us.
Well,
Like,
that
they
was
were-
Hamburg, Germany, man.
Yeah, they were gonna bum rush us, and then Vinny, you were like, "Yo, Drew, these cops are gonna come and they're gonna come arrest us." Like, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Like they surrounded us and they
No,
thought
we were down. We were on the Reeperbahn in fucking in
man.
Hamburg. We were walking around the Reeperbahn at like 1, 2 in the morning, and all of a sudden a SWAT team came down on us.
Yep, and they thought we were a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, they
going
thought-
around,
yeah. Yeah.
like bothering people. And I remember that well. I got
Well,
scared
also,
shit from
it was
that.
at the Gates. That's who we played with.
At the Gates.
At the Gates in Moonspell. Yep.
Here's
Yep.
a shot. Here's a
But anyway,
shot.
sorry to cut you off. Hey, talk about that. Remember, on the Uncle's tour, we used to have bomb checks every day.
Oh yeah, right.
God, man.
Police used to scour the arena before they'd open it up to the crowd.
Here's a shot that I took in Poland of Saab. I took this shot in Poland.
Oh wow, I've never seen that.
Yep.
Shit.
Yep. Rest in peace. I took that
Mm.
shot of Saab in Poland. Yep. Man, I'm showing some pictures here, man. As many as I'm showing, there's 3 times as many. There's
can
3
imagine.
times as many. Hey, how about this one? This Vinnie sent this to me. This is Marauder and the Böhse Onkelz, right?
Yep.
Oh wow, look at
That's
that.
all of us. I'm in
They
this
actually have
shot
that. They
too.
have that on their website, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way. God. look
Yeah,
at that.
but we shot
Yo,
this as well.
they were great, man. They treated us so well, man. They were
They
great.
did, man. They did for real. They're good guys, man. Good memories, and we had a lot of good times on that tour, man. They treated us well.
They put on some of the best concerts too. I think it was because of it was just amazing watching them live because of that crowd as well. You know?
Yeah.
Basically, we didn't know who they were, but by the end of the tour, we were all best friends. They basically, to me, they were like a combination between like the Ramones and like Van Halen, and they played all these kind of soccer hooligan songs that everybody knew the words to.
Mexico,
So
yep.
every
Mexico,
night,
yeah.
the whole arena would be chanting, like singing along. So they sang like soccer. They were like, it's like if the Ramones did soccer hooligan songs, you know?
Yeah.
They were huge.
And they're still playing. They're still playing. Yeah.
They're still
They just
big.
did a tour last year.
Yeah,
Shit, man. Nonstop with those guys, but they're doing it.
Another one from Dortmund, Germany, when we were staying. For some reason, I remember we were in Dortmund for a while.
Oh shit.
Well, that's where that's where the record company was based out of.
That's where Century Media was based,
Yeah,
and they
so we
had
stayed-
they had an apartment with bunk beds in it, and
Right.
and we stayed there. I remember we were there a while, like at one point, you know.
Taking care of business.
Yeah, and then these guys, Saab and
SD.
SD, they fell in with these Ghost Rider guys, you know.
I remember that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Well,
Crazy.
if you remember, the whole Uncle's security force was
all gangsters.
Yeah.
They were all gangsters.
Yep.
But
they
were
took
great
care of
guys.
us, man.
Yes,
Yeah, they
sure
did.
did.
They were great. They were really. Let me see if I have anything. Here's one that's kind of interesting. It kind of this brings me back to what it was like to manage you guys.
Holy shit.
You know?
Wow. God, that's you, Drew?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. This was like a typical, like me talking to Saab and trying to sort out some fucking problem, you know?
What was the name of that bus that we were on?
Yeah, it was
blue
like
bus?
not the Nightliner. It had a name.
Oh, what the hell was the name? Do you remember, Vin?
No.
Listen, here's a shot that you sent me, Vin, of when I was managing you guys, and I think this photo says it all, bro.
100%.
Oh.
That's the Fear
Yep.
Factory tour almost.
This is
That would sum up the whole Fear Factory.
This was me on a daily basis, man.
That
managing
sums up
Marauder.
dealing with us.
Yeah. For sure, man.
Yeah.
God, the look of life.
And it's funny because we weren't a bunch of alcoholics. You know, we weren't. I wouldn't say we were a bunch of drug addicts, but it was just controversy 24/7.
How did we do it? I don't know.
There was a lot of drama, man.
Well, I think people don't realize, like, you get in a band and it's one thing when you get into a rehearsal studio for a few hours and then you leave. It's another thing when you're living with each other 24/7.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what destroys most bands.
Absolutely.
That was down by you, Drew, right? That show.
Yeah, that's right in my neighborhood here on the Upper West Side. And one thing, one thing I got to say is, you guys worked very hard when the Master Killer record came out. I think in that cycle, you did 4, I think you went to Europe and did 4 tours and did 2 tours of the States. You guys really worked it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it could have gone on longer, but like you said, man, it was just times were different back then, and we couldn't. I don't know. I don't want to say coulda, woulda, shoulda, but we had a good thing going for a while, and then really things just kind of disbanded from there, and that was the end of that era.
I think it's also hard because we hit, as I mentioned to you, Drew, like we did a ton of stuff before we were ever signed.
Right.
Played every big venue you could play before we were ever signed, and then it's just like we shot up, and you talk about like the Onkelz tour, doing arenas every night, and then going right out on a couple other tours, and then doing all the big festivals. That you've almost hit a high already.
Yeah.
And when you talked about like me walking away from it all, I wouldn't say some of it was just that, but you think when you've already reached that point and there is controversy going on in a band, or you see your life going in a different direction, that you've walked out on a high note. When you equate it to some athletes, that maybe go out on top, at least you don't feel like you've walked away at some point when you're at the bottom. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, listen, people love to start over. People love to stick with music and do it for the rest of their lives. But I think with me personally, it was just a thing that I know I've reached that particular point. I had a great ride, and let me go out where I have good memories.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess what we're getting to here is, after the sort of Master Killer run and that whole the couple of tours and the video and this and that, and you guys came back and you demoed out at Fastlane. You demoed out a bunch of songs, and then at that point things fell apart. And Rick, you were really, if I remember correctly, you had a job and you couldn't take off from work anymore. You were really the first one that said, yeah, I can't keep going like this.
No, it had nothing to do with work. It was just at the time, we had I don't know, man. I'm going to be straight up. It was just, things were not going right. Things were not going right with the band members. I was kind of fucking tired of it. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And I left. I mean, it is what it is. But then I came back again, and that's when Goat was in the band, and for a little while. And again, just, God, man, like we were like right there, you know what I mean? Type of thing. But it wasn't meant to be. We did have a good run for a little while, at least for the time I was in the band.
Yeah.
Man, I don't regret anything. I really don't. A lot of good times. We had a lot of fun, and I got to see the world, really. You know?
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Vinnie, add any perspective to that? I know we talked previously. You weren't really happy with sort of the musical conflict that was happening.
Yeah, there was a bit of conflict between like band members in terms of like our next record. What direction we're going in, some of the stuff we're writing, some people weren't too thrilled about. But with myself and Anthony being like the main songwriters, if people are pulling in different directions, some people want to try this, some people want to try that, it makes it hard for you to settle down and actually complete songs. And that's where sort of we left off with the second record that was supposed to be. We had some stuff there that like I personally didn't want to use anymore. But it came to a point when we couldn't complete additional songs. Then it made it harder and harder to actually write, and that was another reason for like walking away.
Yeah.
My whole heart and soul was in this band. I had other opportunities to go other places, You know,
excuse me, didn't your name come up in the Machine Head mix at one point?
yeah, when Chris left that band, yeah, there was talks about me trying out for them. I was asked to try it. Well, it sort of came through Borovoy, but Borovoy sort of blocked it about me potentially trying out for Machine Head. But even after I left Marauder, there was like other opportunities, like tours that I could have gone on. But you know, I poured everything into the band, and I didn't want to be in a band where I wasn't like producing the music itself. I didn't want to be a cog in the wheel. So, you know, after Marauder, that was it for me.
I did have one little cool stink though when I went to go see Hatebreed. I think it was at the Roseland, and you know, I didn't have any tickets to go in. I'm like, I'm not gonna freaking pay to go in the Roseland. I'll wait till Jamie comes out. So I'm standing, you know, by the door where the bus is, you know, like a freaking groupie, and I'm waiting for Jamie to come out. So Jamie comes out. I'm like, yo, Jamie, and he's like, Rick, and so we started talking. He took me on the bus, and he was like, Godsmack is looking for a bass player. I was like,
wow.
I was like, and he made that phone call right there. I'll never forget. He made that phone call to see if they had a bass player yet, and they already did.
Wow.
So that's a little something right there that coulda, woulda, shoulda happened, man. Can you imagine?
Were you guys surprised?
You flipped your camera.
Yeah, it happens. Were you guys surprised to see this come out recently?
I was absolutely. I mean, I forgot I sang a couple of songs on there too. I was like, oh shit, I remember that.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. I mean, I think it's nice that it came out. I just, you know, and I found out like it was, I guess, from Riley's demo tapes that he had, but I still have the actual DATs, I believe. And I would have hoped it would have come from there. The quality would have been a little better. But you know, it is what it is, and it's good that it's out there.
Are they touring?
They're playing the Black and Blue Bowl. They're playing the Black and Blue Bowl in May. So,
Vinnie, let's go to May. Let's go do that Marauder.
Here's another shot. I know you've never seen this. It's not even something I'd post but I had to. This is while we were shooting the Master Killer video in the city.
Yep.
Wow.
There's Riley. There's Bob Riley right there on the left.
Shit, man.
Yep.
Riley's a great guy. He really took care of us anytime we were upstate.
He loved you guys, man. He loved you guys, man.
You know, we did that album together, like, you know, that split single together.
Yeah. Well,
so he sang, him and his crew sang on our record.
Yeah. Here it is, right here.
Do you remember, Drew, the where that the Marauder tank top that we had, you know, with the skull and all that? You know where that originally came from?
No. Oh, hold on. Let me see.
Right there.
Ah, there it is.
That's the Marauder skull.
There it
Still
is.
got it.
Wow.
Yep. I don't know if anybody knew that, but still got it, man. And I got the Marauder on my stomach still.
Yeah.
So that'll never go away.
This is a single, a split single Marauder Stigmata that I actually printed up. I'm the one that it had an alternate mix of Master Killer, and it had a Stigmata song, and I printed up the first bunch. Later to find out that Rick Healy from 25 to Life bootlegged it and printed up a whole bunch more and kept selling them. That was
like everything else.
Yeah, I started seeing copies of it with a black and white cover and with no insert, and I was like, "What is this?" Found out that Rick Healy basically bootlegged it, printed it up himself.
Bootlegged everything.
Wow. Yeah.
I wish we actually did a tour with those guys, Stigmata.
Yeah,
that would have been a great time because we were great friends.
Here's a great shot. Chris Bizzani took this. Remember this?
That was one of the first photo shoots that we did. Well, before one of the first photo shoots.
Rick Lopez rocking the Sansamp Sansamp shirt.
And I still have that same Sansamp, dude.
Yeah, you know, that's my childhood friend Zum, you know, who created it, who's played with me in Antidote. You know?
Oh wow.
He plays with me in The High and the Mighty.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So that said, you see, let me see what else I got. Here's another great. Yeah, I just keep on trotting these out, but they're pretty precious. How about this, Rick? Boom.
Oh shit.
This is at the Century Media office in Dortmund, Germany. They would let us come up there. Remember, we used to loot that place.
Yeah, I
we
know.
would loot that place.
Yep.
And
CDs, posters, everything.
That artwork that we're standing in front of is the Cro-Mags Alpha Omega original artwork from that record. And SD's holding up a poster for the record that came after that, Near Death Experience.
Wow.
Yep.
Shit, man.
Wild,
you got a lot
right?
of good pictures, dude. A lot of cool pictures, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally have a chance to
reminisce,
to post some of this stuff. And here's sort of like the last one I'm gonna put on you here. Look at this one. Remember this?
Yep.
There he is. Tony Jitters and SD.
God.
These
SD's probably saying, "Oh God, another day with these guys." And there's you driving.
Go.
Yep,
What's
that's
that?
him driving.
Oh wow!
And I think that's me up front as well driving.
I never noticed that. That's me driving, and you're next to me.
Yep.
I never fucking noticed that, Vin.
You want to hear something funny? On one of what was our old driver? We had Mario, right? Do you remember Mario?
Yep, I remember.
I think it was either him or no. Actually, it wasn't him. It was one of our drivers. No, it wasn't Mario.
That creepy kid Roger.
Roger. No, this was we had this double decker bus, and we've just finished playing. We just finished playing, and I said to him, "Could I drive the bus?" And he says, "You've driven before?" I said, "Yeah, I've driven trucks before." And I started to drive the bus, and he said, "Do you have a license for this?" And I said, "No." He says, "Get out."
Wow, I didn't know that. Shit.
Yeah. I started driving a tour bus for a short period.
Wait, were we in the bus when?
Yeah,
you were
I think
driving?
everybody was in the bus. I think so. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Hey, let me take my last quick sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay? This will be a quick one. All right. That's right. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Upstate Records, and the Texas Silver Rush. They're a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. The client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rolle, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information and online sales will be taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Come on now, last but not least, the one, the only, Upstate Records. Upstate Records is a New York-based DIY independent metal and hardcore label founded in 2017. They broke into the scene with their inaugural 26-band compilation in 2018 and have since churned out over 80 releases in their brief 5-year history. With such notable artists as Leeway, Sub-Zero, Brick by Brick as part of their roster, Upstate Records maintains a focus on upcoming artists, as well as such artists as These Streets, Kind Eyes, Bovis, Life of Crime, and many more. In 2023, look for new releases by Mark Rizzo's new band, Revenge Beast, Carl from Earth Crisis' Freya, Fury of 5, Angry Corpses, and more. And a few more surprises that are in the works. Check them out at www.upstaterecords.com. Use the code, I think it's Drew Stone, and get 10% off of anything. 10% off of anything. Just a quick reminder. Hey, look, one more time, please support the show. Please support the show that supports you. Whether it's your patron, a PayPal contribution, a super chat, please support the show that supports you. Want to thank my new patrons, Stefan Sonic, Jeff Steiner, and Brendan Murray. Just a heads up, a week from today will be Dave from MDC on the show. I think I covered everything else. Questions, please. Now's the time. Repost your questions, and we will bring our guests back on. Let me clear the deck. And hold on. I am sorry. I'm getting vertigo. Let's bring back Vinnie and Rick Lopez. That said, let's see what we got here. Paulie says, I saw Marauder open for Biohazard at Roseland in '94. It was a record release party for State of the World Address. Many other bands opened. Any memories of that crazy show? Vinnie?
Oh, it's a great show. That place was packed from side to side. Crowd was wild. Great time. Biohazard blew the roof off the place. I think we did well. A lot of our friends' bands were on there. It was actually really cool because Bio brought in a lot of, local acts to open up that show, which was really cool of them. And honestly, we did a good run of shows with them as well. And they were always great guys to us, looking out for us. And even when we had our own internal shit going on, Bobby would sometimes sit us aside and say, hey, listen, how to get through certain things as a band. Because of course they had their own stuff going on as well. But yeah, that was a great show. Like I said, a lot of local bands, a lot of friends. So it was a good time.
Yeah.
Madball Scots, right?
Anything, Rick, you have anything to add?
As far as that show goes, man, all I remember was just a lot of mayhem. We got lucky to play it. Biohazard took us to a lot of shows, man. They carried us under their wing. We had it good. We definitely had it good. We got to do all the good shows, and definitely, oh my God, the Roseland.
That was a great venue.
I was like, man, that's just, everybody was at the time. That was just the golden era, man, for everyone,
Yeah. Darren asks, how did you guys find it playing to a Fear Factory crowd every night, Vin?
Oh, fantastic! Like I said, with the metal/death metal crowd, we went over exceptionally well because it was different for them. They were used to just the straight up metal type bands playing, and I think with our sound that was very metal, with sort of like that hardcore-ish, maybe Brooklyn twist, that I guess eventually grew to some sort of metalcore. They just ate it up, loved us. Like I said, we did with Deicide, we went Morbid Angel, all those type of shows went really well.
Yeah. Charles Peterson asks, I'd love to know who exactly wrote the riffs to everything on Master Killer, lyrics too. I know we addressed this early on. Vinnie, let's address it again.
Well, same thing as I said before. It was basically, myself, Anthony, and Saab, but the earlier stuff on that record is mostly myself, Anthony, and Saab. And then later on, like Master Killer, Time Ends, those were all basically written by myself and Anthony. And Master Killer was funny stories. We were in Saab's rehearsal room, and Saab, I think, either ran to the store or he had to do something and got there a little late. And we're like, all right, let's just, jam. And 20 minutes later, there was Master Killer. Like, boom. One of those things, like a lot of artists say, like some of their best songs just came out of, done in a few minutes. And that's sort of how it worked. But Anthony and I had a really good writing relationship. It's not, this isn't to sit there and say anybody was better than one person or not. It's just that, we had a long-standing working relationship, and it just sort of worked really well for us too. Whether I was doing the guitar playing or he was doing the guitar playing, we just managed to just bang out a lot of stuff quite easily.
And you wrote all the lyrics on Master Killer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Larry's a great, Vinny's a great lyricist, man.
He is, man. I told him that. He's a great. I was listening to the stuff, man, like Downfall of Christ and Mirror Shows Black, and fucking great lyrics, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, go ahead, Vinny.
No, the second record that was supposed to come out, like I said, I mean, we were sort of like on that. If people are familiar with some of that stuff, like Scarred, Save My Soul, which was pretty heavy. And then there were some other songs that were a little more on the sing-along hardcore type that, I was looking to drop and go a little bit stay in that heavy vein, but also stay in the vein where it's something that people can, relate to right away. Songs not being too long and drawn out. Like, I think there's a lot of great bands, but I think some people tend to write songs that are a little bit too long And it's like, yeah, you enjoy the first half of the song, but then it just sort of drags on and you just want to move on. And I think one of the greatest things, if I ever, you know, you look at like Slayer's Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
That album was perfect. It was hard. It was fast. It was to the point. Nothing overran its course. And it was a short album, and it always wanted you to, it left you asking for more. And I think that's sort of the vein that we sort of went in with like Master Killer, and sort of what was going in with the second one. But yeah, I'd hope to sort of stay in that vein. But, you know, again, at that time we were sort of pulling in different directions.
I mean, the second one after you guys left, what they did was they took the demo that you guys did at Fastlane and they beefed it up and they released it as a record. That's what the 5 Deadly Venoms is, right?
Well, it's kind of split. I think Pokey was playing, like it was sort of like re-recorded a bit with Pokey, and it sort of changed the style of it. But then they released another record where they have the original recordings, and you'll hear the difference.
I see.
I remember that.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, anybody you want to shout out? I'm going to cut you loose here and wrap it up with Vinnie. Anybody you want to thank or shout out, or looking back on the Marauder thing, anything you want to say?
Man, I'm just glad that I got to hang with you guys. You know, it was Vinnie, it's good seeing you as always, man.
Same here.
Drew, you too, man. I'm just glad that we're all still around and, you know, we're doing our thing, man. I just wish nothing but health and happiness for you guys, dude.
Thank you.
For everybody. For everybody, man.
Thank you, Rick.
Good hanging with you guys, man.
We'll talk to you soon. We love you, man.
Take care, brother. Love you guys.
All right. Well, that was cool. Nice little surprise, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's yeah, absolutely. Had no idea the drummer was also a lyricist. Yeah, man, that's one of the very unique things about Marauder, is that the drummer was the lyricist and he wrote a lot of the music on guitar. You also were a guitar player, right?
Yeah, rhythm guitar. I couldn't solo or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, but I remember you hashing things out and working with them and explaining stuff to them. I was there. I remember that. You know?
Yeah, working with Anthony solos on the record. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Chris says I wrote Final War music and lyrics.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah. and that's a song that wasn't on Master Killer, but ended up on the record after that.
Yeah, I don't know how it never ended up on there, but
you guys used to play that. That was in the set list, like on the Böhse Onkelz tour, right?
Love that song. Yeah, everywhere. Always played it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it was sad times when Chris actually left. I think he went into the military, and then just a little funny story. I don't know how much time you have, but
no, we're going to do another 15. We could do another 10, 15 minutes. So
yeah, we were looking for another guitar player when Chris had to go. Again, no bad blood split or anything like that. And you know, we knew Anthony that was in like a local band at that time, Metal Storm. You know, didn't really have the Marauder look or the Marauder feel, but we always knew he was like a great guitar player. Like I was friends with them, friends with Mark. Actually, both Marks that were in that band, and you know, it was kind of screwy move, but we kind of stole him from that band. But it took a while for him. Like even though I said him and I wrote most of the music, like it took a while for him to like move from the type of writing he was doing in his old band to ours. So it was a bit of a transition. But yeah, he was a great guitar player and eventually, you know, worked out incredibly well for us and was fantastic in the studio. Fantastic live. I mean, he was like basically the one guy that was always in my monitor, you know. I needed him in my mix all the time because he was always so on point.
Absolutely. June says, Drew, I'm always impressed by the catalog of pitches you managed to maintain. Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not by chance. I work hard at it, actually. Whenever I'm on a plane or something, and I have that kind of focus, I go through all the photos. I label them all and I put them in folders. So at any moment I could type in Marauder or whatever, and all this stuff comes up. I've been putting this together for years. There's a whole system to it. It's not just by happenstance.
Drew never stops working. Never stops working. Was that Junior?
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my brother from another mother.
That's right. Yo, they just put some new music out.
Yep, Nobody's Perfect. Yep. Good friends. We all used to play at poker at Jay's house, and we did shows together. We were really close. And Junior's like one of my closest friends.
Here's, just as, because I got a couple pictures that, as we're talking, here's a great shot from the Roxy in Long Island, man. Look at this one.
The Roxy. Wow.
The Roxy. Andrea Katz.
Is that Hoya in the back?
Yes, that's Hoya in the back. Yep.
Nice.
That's Hoya in the back. And this was a Sick of It All Biohazard Marauder show. Yep.
Yeah, we like I said, we did a lot of shows with Sick of It All and Biohazard, and as Rick said, like in the very early stages, like they really hooked us up a lot and with a lot of shows.
You guys,
Sick of It All was actually one of our real. Sick of It All was actually, I think, our real first show that we played down in southern New Jersey. I don't know if that place was called Murphy's Law or something like that, or I don't remember the name of that club, but it was down around the Asbury Park area, I think, and it was like Sick of It All and a few other bands. But yeah, we did the Marquee with them. We did a lot of shows with them.
Here's a shot called this is called Brooklyn Represent. That's one.
Joe, right?
Yeah, it's Joe Affey and and a young, very, very early in the game. We
ran into each other the last time a couple of years ago, when Chris Barbarian's funeral. We hadn't seen each other in ages, and we ran into each other there and caught up.
Yeah. So let me just make sure I one of the last kind of things that, well, let's go here with it, bro. At this point. So obviously you left the band and you went through an incredible physical transformation. I mean, I knew you, we basically, we lived on top of each other for a while. I mean, you as I guess you were in your early 20s then. I mean, you were a big kid, to put it.
You could say it fat.
You were a big kid. You were a big boned kid, and you stepped away. I didn't see you, and then you turned up. Tell us a little bit about how this transformation happened. It's incredible.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with my kids. I was married. I had kids, put on weight over the years, got heavier, and started thinking about where am I going to be for them at some point in time if I continue in this health. So, my doctor had talked to me about weight loss surgery, and I said, I'm not really sure. And if I put it off for 2 years, and eventually went for weight loss surgery. And then once I started dropping some of the weight, then I started training, going to the gym, doing cardio stuff. And then I always had a love for Muay Thai and mixed martial arts. I did judo when I was young. I did Kung Fu when I was young.
Sure.
And, now I was finally at the point where I could actually, do something like that. And actually, when I was younger, right before the band really took off, I used to play ice hockey 4 or 5 nights a week. But I was still never in the greatest of shape. So, like I said, I went through all of that. And then I started training in jiu-jitsu, started training in Muay Thai. And then it came to a point where I was going to be going to Thailand and training there. And I knew I needed to up my cardio big time and get in really the best shape of my life, because when you're training there, it's 90 something degrees. You're not training in air conditioning. And
sure.
So I made that transformation. Of course we all went through the COVID thing, and then I just recently had another baby, who's 6 months old. So I stopped training for a while. Then I went through hand surgery. So now I'm on the road to getting back to where I was. I mean, it's not like I'm back where I was back in my band days, but I'm not in peak physical held like I was in that picture, but working away, getting back there. But yeah, a lot of it was basically for my kids and for my long-term health in my life.
Yeah.
And feel much better. Everything in life is much better as a result. It does wonders.
Here's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also your kids are in the mix, right? I got a shot of I know we talked yesterday. You were at a match for your son. Your sons are in the mix, right?
Yeah. My son trains in BJJ and wrestling. My both of them actually used to train in BJJ. My other one sort of pulled out, and he's like, all concerned about college now, and
Sure.
they're both really good at school. I have like no issues there. But yeah. So my younger one trains in BJJ. He's also on the wrestling team. He won Queens County Championship. He just won the freshman sophomore championship, and then for New York City, placed third for all of New York City.
That's
so
fantastic.
Yeah. So he competes a lot.
Is diet a big part of it?
With me or with him?
With you.
Yeah. Make sure I watch what I eat. Raised my kids that way as well. Like they never went out for junk. Never had soda in the house, anything like that. Because once I transitioned my lifestyle, I wanted to make sure that they were in that same vein. So now, especially with my son being on the wrestling team, you have to watch everything you eat. You have to make weight like once or twice a week. So he's like totally on point, So he's more of an inspiration to me than I think I am to him now.
Yeah. Foundry 37, looking great, Vin. Wayne here.
That's my band. Yeah, that's my man Wayne.
Is that right?
Yep. Big Black. Call him Big Black.
Let's see what else we got.
I'll tell you a funny story, actually.
Please. As I'm looking for another question.
I probably shouldn't even bring this up, but there was a show with Killing Time I think it was in 42nd Street. And, Wayne was a good friend of mine, good friend of our band, and wasn't like one of the guys that was down with everybody else. And of course, everybody's in the pit at that time. And one guy, I don't know if he hit Wayne or Wayne hit him accidentally. And then there's a massive beef at the Sick of It All show. Like they're all ready to kill him,
Right.
And then, the next thing like Minus stepped in, and then someone hit Minus, I think, trying to hit Wayne. And that sort of set it off where Minus is like, the next guy that touches me is going down, and he got Wayne out of the club, and everything was sort of squashed after all of that. But, Minus put himself on the line for a lot of people that he knew that were ready to, take it out on Wayne. But Wayne is like, another one of like my brother from another mother.
Yeah. Michael LaRose, how do you write the music and the lyrics for such an awesome band and then just walk away? Got to ask that one.
I don't know. You just leave it on the table and that's it, I guess. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah. Oh, he says I ran to the train station.
After Minus got him
out. Good question from our man Chucky Brown, who sings for Crazy Eddie, a bit of a music historian. Did he hear the Marauder cover songs "Master Killer," "Downfall of Christ," and "Life Is Pain" from the bands
I think I heard,
God Forbid, Sinister, Heaven Shall Burn, and Hatebreed? Would like to hear
I think I've heard two of them. I haven't paid too much attention to it, to be honest. It's definitely appreciated, anybody that's doing it, because obviously it's someone did it because they were inspired by it.
Sure.
So I think it's wonderful, no matter what version of it they do or whatever their take is. I think it's great.
Yeah, good. Yep.
I mean, we used to do a Cro-Mags cover. I didn't know any cover. I honestly never knew.
Life of My Own.
Yeah, I never knew how to play any cover, and I never really wanted to do covers. But I think they were a big influence in terms of, I wouldn't say so much the music, but their energy that they brought, their look.
Yeah.
And it was something that paid homage to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see what else we got. Got a lot of crowd participation today, man. People are happy to see you, Vinny. They really are, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. We missed you, bro. tell us about, we're going to wrap it up like soon, but what is, you mentioned this to me, like what's going on here? I wasn't around for this. What is this?
This is Dietzenbach Stadium, where Frankfurt Eintracht plays. I think this is sort of remodeled since we last played there, but we did a show there with the Onkelz, Motorhead, Blind Guardian, Propane.
Was this after the Onkelz tour we did? You went back the next year?
Yeah, it was after the Onkelz tour we did. We were doing some tours the next year, and then they were putting together this huge outdoor stadium show, and asked us to be on it, and that was incredible as well. Anything we did with the Onkelz was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an interesting one, and I could answer part of this. Do you still play drums, Vin?
No, I stopped. I stopped mostly because I had carpal tunnel syndrome my whole life playing.
Did you have it? Did you have it back in the day when we were doing it?
I had it almost since I was a kid, because I remember when I was a kid and I used to write in school, my hands always used to bother me, and I never knew what it was from. I thought maybe I just always held the pen too tight. But yeah, playing drums. After a while, I couldn't feel the sticks anymore, and especially like when we would play live, because it was like every night. I'd have to actually hold them between my fingers at time and wear gloves just to make sure it wouldn't go flying out of my hand. And I went for acupuncture. I went for a couple of things, and it never panned out. But yeah, it was very difficult because you couldn't play with finesse the way you wanted to, because you would just lose feelings in the hands.
Yeah.
So I recently had hand surgery finally after all these years. I wish I did it back then, but I finally did it because I used to ride a motorcycle, and then on top of training, like especially in BJJ, when you try to grab, your hands numb up, then you can't sleep at night. So yeah, that sort of added to why I stopped playing as well.
Well, hey man, this was a lot of fun, and
definitely.
Anybody you want to thank? I want to show a couple pictures on the way out, but anything you want to say? Anybody you want to thank? Or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to thank all my old band members. Doesn't matter controversies or not. I mean, we all poured our hearts and soul into this, and something came out of it. And I wouldn't be on here with you 25 plus years later if we didn't leave some sort of mark. So, definitely minus Chris, Eamon, Mike MacGyver played with us for a while. Jorge, Rick, definitely want to thank all of them. SD, who I haven't seen in forever, who was always there for us, helping us out in any way possible. Always had our back. Riley was another one. Bob Riley was always there for us. Austin Mike, like a lot of guys were always there for us, and really good friends of the band. Again, sick of it all, and Biohazard for always, reaching out and taking care of us quite often in the beginning. And then definitely you, Drew. I don't think we would have done what we did without you. You put up with all our chaos. You put yourself out there no matter what. You drove for us. You sold stuff for us. I mean, we used to joke that Drew could sell sand in the desert. We used to watch you, like how you would sell those shirts. Like, if that kid had $20 on him and that was what he was going to live on for the rest of the week, you found a way to get the $20 out of him to buy something, But yeah, I mean, you're incredibly hardworking, and it shows like how long have you've been in this scene and what you've done. And I don't watch every show you've done on here, and I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I've seen what you've done throughout the years, and I think it's great what you give back to this form of music and how hard you work with even still doing music, everything you do. So
thank you.
I appreciate everything you've ever done for us, because I don't think I'd be here today if you weren't there for us.
Well, thanks, Vin. I mean, that really means a lot, man. And it meant a lot for you to be on the show. And I want to kind of close. Here's a photo here.
Love you too, Riley.
This photo, I feel, kind of sums up, some of those good times that we had back then. Here we are. We came across some place in the desert. The dude is on the right next to Rick, and we were just tripping out on him. And we went on a nice, fun adventure together, man, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot about life together. We really did, man. And yeah, go ahead.
Most managers don't come out on a band's tour. They don't come out and drive. They don't come out and stay with you 24/7. And then take care of everything else. So all of that, is very much appreciated.
Yeah, and then I kind of want to put this as the last photo, of the day, and rest in peace, Javier Carpio, man.
Yep.
He certainly was a big part of the spirit of Marauder.
Oh, thousand.
He was the spirit of Marauder,
Yeah. No, he was a massive influence, wild guy, but him and I were boys for a long time. When I left the scene, I obviously left everybody, and it was never because I disliked anybody or anything like that. So, probably people think that I've left and maybe I ever had beef with anybody or anything against anybody. It was never like that. But yeah, Saab was definitely my boy. We went through a ton of stuff together. He stuck himself out on the line for me at Animal Hall, which I'll never forget. Yeah, he was a good dude.
Yeah. God rest.
And when without him, I think without any of us, Marauder's completely different. But without him, he was definitely a big influence.
Hey, Busky, I hope you're well, buddy. I hope you and your family are well. Listen, Michael Gibbons from Leeway says most managers are crooks and scammers. Wish Drew managed us. Yo, it was a crazy time. It was a hard time. And listen, I wasn't 100% perfect back then. I have my issues, but we all hung together. We did. Yep. We all hung together, man. Everybody, we were there was like a 10-headed monster back then. We got into shit constantly,
Always.
It was wild. So there you go. Vinnie, all the best to you and your family.
Same to you.
Please, man, let's keep in touch, man.
We got to do dinner one night.
We'll do it, man. We'll do it. I'll talk to you soon.
Mike. Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
All the best to you, Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I love you.
Have
man.
a good
Take
one.
Care.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
Wow. Shit. Woo, man. That was heavy, man. It was a heavy show. Bringing an old friend on, who left the scene a long time ago, and and we were close, and he was a big part of what made that band great, and a lot of people don't know that. Vinnie Vitale wrote all the lyrics, and he wrote a lot of the music, and he was the anchor. He was the anchor of that band. So, hey, I'm trying. I think I'm past it. I'm not going to cry. I'm all right. I got past it. Matt Melnick, Brooklyn represent. Yeah, it was great, man. It was. Thank you, Joe. Just a great show. Great guy. Thank you. The fact. Some Leeway interviews. Well, we did Eddie Sutton. Who else? We could get Mike Gibbons on. AJ Novello doesn't do interviews like this. I don't think Pokey has any desire to do it. So we should get Gibbons on one of these days. I see that you're out there, Mike. But yeah, I'm very fortunate. Everything that I have done has brought me down the road to the show, and I have the opportunity to do the show on a worldwide platform, and we knock one out of the park every once in a while. So that said, any chance of getting Rich Ward from Fozzy? Listen, if there's one thing we've learned about this show is, when you least expect it. You never know. We've gotten all kinds of people. I've been blown away when I've asked people and thinking there's no way. And they said, I fucking love your show. I'd love to do it. And so you never know. There's a lot as we head to our 250th show, right? Show 250 with Lars coming up on March 19th. Show 2. Never say never, man. Never say never, man. Right? One thing we've learned about the show, you just never know. That said, today was great. I'm inspired. I hope you are too. Until then, do good things and good things will come to you.